what you mentioned about making a track solely with AI and you have no clue what you're actually doing, I think that kind of defeats the purpose of the whole creative process a little bit.
As an artist that's like genuinely on a soulful level trying to find my sound and and pursue something that I want to represent me in this world, I don't think AI is gonna help me do that.
How it works, but I think, like you said, you just have to keep pushing forward, go on to the next, and think like, okay, there's probably someone who then will say yes.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to brodienero.tv on YouTube. I myself, as some of you may know, I'm a DJ and producer, always seeking to learn from others to advance my career and share the information with you guys so we all grow and keep succeeding together. I'm here today with two new friends, Nick and Yannick. And I would say, arguably, you guys have one of the biggest channels for sound packs and music production. And I was telling you earlier, I was realizing when I was just some last minute notes reviewing, getting ready for the interview, I was on your YouTube channel. I was like, oh shit, like I've watched a video from these guys on how to make an anima bass line like 8-9 months ago. So I was like, it's cool to see the impact that you guys have made. So I'm excited to have you on the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course, of course. When you take a moment now and just hear the simple fact that somebody randomly stumbled across your videos and the impact that you guys have made with the channel, how do you guys look at your success? Like, how do you think about your growth over the last several years?
Yeah, I think, first of all, it's amazing to see producers who are really using our sounds, using our tutorials to like really level up their productions, and in that way release music on big labels, get support from big artists. It's really valuable to me to see how we can really help other producers, and it's something that if someone's sending a message on Instagram or an email like, hey, I made this track and it sounds really cool, then I'm like, wow, we actually helped someone make music, which is always like super nice to see.
Nice.
Also,
Cool.
when people are like approaching you in real life and they say like, hey man, I watched your video,
Yeah.
thanks for that, then it's really a moment that you realize like, all right, like people are really using our videos
Yeah.
to learn. So that's really nice.
Yeah, for sure. I usually don't ask such standard questions, but because you guys are two young guys that are literally like living off this project, I think it's so cool to see young, ambitious, creative people create something from virtually nothing and make it a lifestyle for them. That's why I'm curious to talk a bit about origin story and how the producer school was formed. So if you could tell us a bit about how you guys connected and came up with this insane idea that's now literally impacting the industry. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, I think it all started with just us being friends since like primary school already, and we were just starting out, I don't know, making websites, doing like photoshopping, just having fun basically on a computer. And then we started producing. We were both like into like electronic music. You had a lot of Dutch guys like Martin Garrix popping off.
So many
like,
come from there.
yeah,
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So we were like, that's interesting. So we basically just started making music for fun. And then I don't remember why, but we were like, let's make a YouTube tutorial and post it. But at that time we didn't even really know how to produce very well.
Yeah.
So it was pretty shitty, I would say.
In terms of quality, you mean, like the music?
Yeah. But like the YouTube landscape was also different because
Mm.
the level of overall production was like very low compared to now. So our tutorials were basically like text in the screen, do this, step 1, step 2, do that. And then
It was what worked at that
yeah.
time.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we were pretty much inspired by some other channels, pretty small at that time too, doing basically the same, and we were basically learning from it ourselves. And I don't know why, but somehow we felt like, well, let's do it ourselves too. So we started with that, and then I think we posted one video and we actually forgot about it.
Yeah.
And then we came back like a few months later, and this was in 2016, so it's like 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And we got like 200 subscribers, and at the time we were like 12 years old, so we were like, damn, this is like
Nice.
this is really nice. And then we decided to make more videos, and quite quickly grew to like 1K subscribers.
Mhm.
And at that point we kind of realized that it might grow into something bigger, so we just decided to keep making videos.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just pause for a moment, just so the guests really understand. What are some of the big names that are using your sound packs at this time, or have previously?
Well,
yeah.
I think a lot of the bigger names that have used it are in like the melodic techno scene.
Yeah.
Afro house scene as well. Let's a Camel Fat, a
Yes.
Gugel,
Cassian,
Cassian. In the Anima song, there are also some sounds of us.
Mine Against,
Mine Again, probably.
Colin,
Yeah,
like probably even more artists that we don't know about either.
Right. Right.
Because I'm not checking each order or anything
Yeah.
to spot artist names.
like
but
also legends like MK. I think he also has quite a lot of packs from us.
Mhm.
So there's
Willie
probably some
William, like very broad, range of producers.
and probably more that we don't even know about.
Right, because like you said, you can't track exactly.
No,
and
so some sounds are like very recognizable.
Yeah.
And you would hear that in a song, but often like a clap, it's so hard to even hear. Oh, it's in that pack, or
Yeah.
it's really sick to see like all the big guys that I still look up to are using the sounds, and a lot of just starting aspiring producers as well, which is a nice I think a very nice balance between that.
Yeah, cool. The Camel Fat collaboration, obviously huge. Congrats on that. Do you guys see yourself doing more of that? Is that for you guys to continue growing? And by the way, these guys have, I think it's like almost 120K on Instagram in terms of followers, over 280K subscribers on YouTube, which is massive too. For you guys to break through the next level, or when you think about earning that 1 mil subscriber plaque from YouTube one day, which I hope you guys get, what do you think is going to help get you there? Because I imagine it couldn't necessarily be just keep making more sound packs. Would it be through avenues like collaboration like this with Cabo Fat, or?
Yeah, at this point, it's something we're really looking into to do this more often, because it's the response on the Camel Fat pack was like really good, and we enjoyed the process of making it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And we're now already looking with a friend of mine who's more of a tech house DJ in America to do that kind of niche too. So kind of like touch on different genres, do different collaborations, which I believe like would take our brand to the next level, like at this point.
Nice, nice. And that brings up another interesting point that I didn't think of that we were going to necessarily talk about. But in terms of genres, I mean, obviously, if there's a trendy genre, it makes sense to build products for that market. And obviously, melodic techno is huge. Would you say that the inspiration to do Afro House was as a result of seeing the rise of Afro House in recent years?
Yeah, definitely. So we usually try to, we can't look into the future, but we try to look at the trends, what's coming, what's kind of really popping up at the moment. And then we just try to capture the essence of that sound and new sounds in a pack. So we like to follow the trends because that works well, but we also still have to actually like the music, because if we do something we don't like, then it just doesn't work for us.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, I think that's a big part of, well, a part of our success. Just being on that wave, before the wave even hits of a new sound that's coming up.
Yeah.
Right now it's mostly like the hard house and trance sound, which works really well, which has been popping off really well in the Netherlands, in Germany, and the UK.
Yeah.
I think it's not in America really that big yet, but it's coming. So yeah, we really try to look forward, go to festivals, clubs, hear what ideas and tracks the DJs are playing, so we can get kind of an idea of what's next.
Interesting. So part of, I guess you could say, like your market research is actually going out and spending time in the scene.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Which
so
is not
too
a
bad.
bad.
No, it's not.
For sure. For
like
sure.
you could do it with like data and all this kind of stuff, but we so far over like multiple years have been pretty successful in kind of like just talking to people, going to events, and kind of predict it ourselves. So for us, that works really well. Like 2-3 years ago, you had melodic techno really becoming a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then Afro house. Now, as he told, we are more into like the trendy hard house stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which is doing really well now too. Because very often you see like the packs are performing the best just slightly before a sound gets to like the peak momentum. Because then a
Oh.
lot of producers start to realize like, oh, hey, I want to make this. I need sounds. There are not that many
Available yet, yeah.
offerings yet. So then that does really well for us.
Yeah, wow. A question I have is like, when I think of big music and cool sounds and innovation, I think of guys like Mau P. I think of like Anelia, and shout out Anelia. He's been on the podcast before. He posted a clip playing at this show in Brazil on Instagram the other day, and the music sounds like, I made a comment and I was like, bro, this music sounds like it's from the year 2080. Like it's just so cutting edge and
Yeah.
just sounds so different. Who are some of your, well, this is like two-part question, but who are some of your favorite artists in terms of production, what they're doing right now? And then also, how are you guys thinking of and making sounds that sound futuristic and sound like what's not here already?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm really inspired by the guys of Inner Visions. They are,
Mm.
well, already a big name for a very long time, and they are just so, their productions are insane. All of these guys, guys like Jimmy Jules,
Oh, wow.
Trick, they are really pushing a sound forward that's brings something new.
Mhm.
And in terms of like capturing the future of a sound, that's first of all starting with like the basics. So what sounds are currently in that kind of niche working and trending? Then like if we put like a bunch of those working sounds that work already in a pack,
Mhm.
and then we start, okay, how can we push this, add our own flavor, make it more unique, so if producers are using the packs, they get new sounds instead of just like recycled ones that are already in a lot of tracks.
Yeah.
And it's just trial and error, basically, just tweaking sounds. I don't really have an technical explanation for it. It's just a
Mhm.
feeling and just tweaking all the buttons and knobs there are, and then
Yeah.
just trying something new, basically.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's a fun process, but it can sometimes be hard to always come up with something new. Um, but it's really rewarding to if you can make it new and see that people are using it. It's just amazing to see.
Nice, nice. And uh, in your experience, let's say, how can I ask this? So I imagine, as you even just said now, not every sound sounds great or comes out the way that you want to. Um, have you ever experienced putting out packs that have underperformed in terms of like sales and the reaction you got from them? And what did you do to make sure the next pack was better?
Yeah, well, I think like the performance is usually um, really what's really important, what's happening in the market at that moment. So
Mm,
like let's say Afro House is working, that usually just works well, and it's not really, well, of course there are a lot of great sounds in it, but it's usually just a trend that works well.
yeah.
Um, but if we see a pack that's, well, performing a little bit less, then we just try to think, okay, uh, what happened exactly? We try to get feedback from some people, like,
Mm,
oh well, I would love to see this and that, and then we try to incorporate that and do that in the next pack. So you basically, at each pack you make, you're learning, because it's always different genres, and you take inspiration and knowledge from different genres,
yeah.
which is great. And then we just try to like really incorporate that in the new sounds.
And
Cool.
sometimes it's just like really simple. You see a comment and you're like, oh, people want more soft kicks in this pack, and you can
Mm,
take that feedback and
user
try to
feedback.
improve it for your next pack. So,
Cool.
but like in general, I feel like we get a lot of positive response, especially over the past few years.
Yeah.
So that's really great.
For sure, for sure. An interesting question I had, or at least I think it's interesting. So you had mentioned you guys release your own stuff, and obviously people that make producer sound packs are obviously producers. So you told me you had a song out that was on a huge label, Siamese, and I wondered maybe some of the challenges, or in your experience, you obviously are having success in what you're doing. Do you often think about um, putting the producer sample pack aspect to the side and focusing more on your artist careers and pushing that? Because I imagine maybe there's times when you put out this amazing sample pack or multiple sample packs and you see huge artists using those sounds and putting out these massive hit records. Maybe they go platinum or change
Hmm.
the trajectory of an artist's life. And you're like, man, like, why don't I use these sounds for my own music
Yeah,
and blow up my own career?
yeah.
Do you guys ever wrestle with these thoughts or have different ambitions, or think about maybe in the future you want to shift more to being in, let's say, the limelight or on the
Yeah, the
stage
artist.
yourself
Yeah,
versus
yeah. I definitely really like also the artist side of music.
hmm
So indeed, it can be a tough thing to like balance it. You're in the studio a lot, making a lot of sounds, then finding well the time and headspace to also make your own stuff can be challenging sometimes. But it's
hmm
also a way for me to be like to really have my own creative output there. Because for the packs, it's usually just well super technical, making some demo songs as well. But really having my own sound out there is something I value a lot. It's more
hmm
of a well fun thing to do. But I'm definitely planning to work on that, and for the future just step more into the light, like you said.
Cool.
Start performing as well. That's
Ah,
something
nice.
I'm definitely working on. Yeah.
Sweet,
The good
sweet.
part is like we are still young and we already have like a foundation with what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So maybe it's in a way also bad, like we don't have the pressure that much. So we have time and we can kind of evolve our sound
hmm
and then try to get it out at a point where we feel like we really hit the sound that we want to share with the world. So I think that's also a part of it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a positive thing. And if I can share something about myself, sometimes I wrestle with the fact that I'm making this podcast, interviewing other artists and, capturing and understanding their journey and seeing them advance because they're so focused on their own careers. And I'm like, man, I got this YouTube channel. Did I do something that's going to take away from me focusing
Yeah.
on my own stuff and moving me forward? But I was thinking this earlier this morning over breakfast that I think we're in this interesting age where it's very welcomed and super logical to try and have a couple different things going on that all relate to each other, because what separates you from the millions or at least hundreds of thousands of artists that are out there making music and putting it out every single week, right? Like, what's your unique wow and X factor?
Hmm.
And I actually think that this YouTube channel and this podcast project is like another avenue to showcase myself and build community versus just saying, hey, I'm another DJ producer and here's my new song on Beatport every single
And
Friday,
you get a
you
lot of
know?
like new connections through
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
which is pretty similar with what we do.
Yeah.
Like the
We
contact with like a camel vet, for example. If I were to have a track that I want to send to them, now I can send it to them pretty
right,
easily,
right.
which is because of the channel we have.
Yeah.
so
So it
And
opens up doors as well.
yeah,
yeah,
it's making like strengthening it even more
yeah.
to make sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I want to get into a bit more of a technical question, and at first I thought like maybe we should be in the studio to do this, but then I thought maybe it's something we can just discuss. You guys can let me know. So, and we spoke about it a bit when we had dinner the other night. So we're living in this time where AI is super here now, and what I'm noticing is that, well, I'll give you an exact example. So I'm driving in the car with a friend and he plays me a new song and he says, what do you think? And I'm like, this is pretty cool. And he goes, yeah, this huge label is interested in it. And I've got the stems and we're going to tweak it a little bit and then resubmit it and hopefully it gets signed. And he goes, you want to, you guess, he goes, guess what? And I said, what? And he goes, this entire thing was made by AI. And I was like, no way, that's crazy. So we're living in this time where anybody can virtually use this AI, feed it a little bit of information and meet and make something that's good enough that a super popular label says, I'm interested in that. Then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you got somebody that's allocated or invested 10 years of their life that knows how to like clean the resonance off of a hi-hat and do things front to back, A to Z to make a song, and then everything in between. So I wanted to get your guys' opinion on the influence that AI has on music production now, because I think you've got people that are cutting corners just for, I don't know if the right word is egotistical, but just to get success.
Mhm.
And then you've got other people that appreciate the AI technology because maybe it's going to save them hours so that they can move their project along further. So, as producers yourself and people that are putting out sound packs, how have you seen the the evolution of AI affect music production?
I think a lot of like great tools have come out like over the past few years, but like what you mentioned about making a track solely with AI and you have no clue what you're actually doing, I think that kind of defeats the purpose of the whole creative process a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I like pretty strongly believe that if you are the guy who has 10 years experience and you start also leveraging some kind of AI tools like plugins or you make vocals with AI, then you are always like a step ahead of the people who are simply just making a track, do not tweak anything and try to get success out of that.
Yep.
So I think it's important even for people who have a lot of experience to already like embrace the tools,
Move
not be
with the
too
future.
too
Yeah.
like conservative with it. It's just the way how the landscape evolves. Like
Well said.
in 1980 at the synthesizer, and there were probably people who were like against it. People started embracing it.
Yeah.
Then it started to get digital. You got plugins. So I think it's just the way that stuff evolves. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And how I personally feel, and I'm glad I have this perspective, is even after I saw what he showed me, I still came home and I still sit on Ableton and I'm still working on all my stuff because I thought, man, that's cool. And I like the idea of leveraging that in some way. But like as an artist that's like genuinely on a soulful level trying to find my sound and how and pursue something that I want to represent
Yeah.
me in this world, I don't think AI is gonna
AI
help me do
can
that.
can do that.
At
No
this
way.
point, the it can come up with a cool track, but the
Hmm.
way that really innovative artists come up with like the most crazy creative tracks, at this point it's not at that level. And I think people also just really enjoy the story behind an artist, like put in a lot of work,
Yeah.
develop their own sound. That's why people also love to see like videos of artists in the studio and stuff like that. So I think of course it will change the industry a bit,
Hmm.
but there's always room for like the real
Yeah,
artists to do their
exactly.
thing.
Right, right. Yeah, great point. So the more technical question I had that I wanted to get to was if you had to go back to your 12 or 13-year-old selves when you were just getting into music production, and let's say, I don't know, I'll make up a number, it took you 6 years to become self-sufficient, industry standard music producers, how would you use some of these tools and technologies to make yourself become better quicker, if that makes
Yeah,
sense?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't use just a prompt and then make music because you will probably learn nothing from that.
Mm-hmm.
I would really still invest a lot of time in actually making music yourself. But I would definitely use tools like there are so many like chord generators
Mm-hmm.
that can really help you get started quickly on an ID. Some tools to create vocals. Just be creative with it. Um, and just basically learn from it rather than misusing it just to create something
Mm.
very make something very quickly and put it out fast.
Yeah.
Um, so I would just still put in all of the hours that I would normally do,
Wow.
but
Okay.
just as a learning tool, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Interesting. I was thinking, so for me, now I'm super committed to producing and I put the hours in pretty much daily, but there was a period of time where I was working with mentors, stopping working with mentors, going on my own, not producing anything for years at a time, getting back into it, stop and start, blah, blah, blah. And I realized every time I would go to these mentors, I'd be trying to get some sort of piece of advice or wisdom that I knew was just gonna almost like flip a switch and make me a great producer. And I just realized time and time again, there's absolutely no way getting around the hours to put in
Yeah.
unless you're gonna use this AI tool.
Yeah, and then you are not really the artist. If you really want
Right.
to make it yourself, like almost all artists, with some exceptions, they have been doing it for 10 plus years before
Mm,
they reach like a level where they are on the stage where you actually see them. So, yeah, I think it's basically the only way to get to that
Just
industry top level
yeah,
is
yeah.
putting in time.
putting in all the hours. That's
I
yeah.
see it with friends of us who like are producing for a few years now, and they are really motivated and they work like daily, like 10 hours producing.
Wow.
Like after like a year of doing that, you see their quality go like times 2 or times 4. Like it's
Yeah.
gets so much better just because they put in so much work.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's really interesting. It's like I feel like when I'm working on production, a few days goes by and you just feel like you're at the same level. But then when you step back and maybe even just in 2 weeks, sometimes you
Yeah,
can
you can
notice a
already be like,
massive.
yeah,
And the truth is, like even with some of these mentors, like sometimes I'll spend some money because they help me finish a track or they give me a bunch of sessions, and I've managed to almost grab like these little tidbits that of information and tips that help always just make the project a little bit better. Yeah.
yeah. That's
But it's still for like I think every producer looks back at their projects of like months ago, and then you have something like, I should have done this
I
differently.
still have that.
Yeah,
Even after
everybody
all these
still
years,
has
Yeah.
it.
yeah, I think even like big artists are like, well, not all of them, but still like very perfectionist about their sound. And then yeah, a few months or a year later, you like you said, I would have done things differently for that track, or I
Hmm.
would have changed this sound. Uh, it's a constant learning process, and I think that basically never stops for every producer.
Yeah. It's almost like there's a painter, I forget who it was, but they said like a painting's never really done because you can always add to it, but at some point the artist has to make the decision and just say
Yeah,
this is
Yeah,
it and put
yeah,
it out there.
yeah,
But you could always go back or wish you could
yeah,
and make
yeah,
it better.
yeah.
because if you don't, then you will never put out music either. So there's like a point where you need to decide like, okay, for now
It's
this
finished.
is this
Yeah,
is the thing that's finished, and it's like sounding maybe not like 90% on how I want it, because I think it will be really hard to be always like 100% sure about your production.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Selfish question for me. Success on YouTube. As I mentioned earlier, you guys have approaching 300,000 subscribers. YouTube is a different beast. I think that YouTube continues to, I don't know if this is the right wording, but maybe make things a little more challenging in terms of having success on there because everybody wants to become a YouTuber. Everybody wants to have online money, all of this
Hmm.
stuff. I wanted to get a little bit specific in terms of strategy and output that you guys have had to maintain. Maybe we can talk a little bit about styles of content, consistency in scheduling, approach, workflow, all that stuff to build a self-sustaining channel. Like how to, if we could start, maybe not necessarily right at the beginning, but if we could just talk, I guess, about strategy of what it takes to build a channel of this size.
yeah. I think it takes years. Well, our channel started in 2016,
Okay.
and that's already like 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And I would have never thought I would be doing that for 9 years.
Wow.
Um, Having fun, I think, is really important. Doing something what you like, and then on the other hand, you want to look what's happening, what's working for other channels. See what's still like missing in the YouTube landscape, and I think that's something we kind of were lucky with. There are like a bunch of channels that do videos on EDM production,
Hmm.
but still at that time not that many, and especially like kind of sounds that were not really taught on YouTube. So it's definitely also working with trends and things that are happening, um, and then just trying to put out content on a weekly basis. Each video try to improve, um, and really get better. So the quality of your videos gets better.
Yeah.
You in that way get more viewers, get more subscribers, and really grow.
Hmm. Hmm. In terms of getting a little more granular and specific, what would you say if somebody said, I want to make a YouTube channel today? I'm committed, I'm passionate, I'm niche, I know exactly what I'm going for. What would you say would be a good baseline in terms of output? Like how many long forms per month or per week? How many shorts? Another thing that I need to make sure I'm being more consistent on is the like the blog posting. I
Yeah.
don't do enough of that, but I'm told it's important. What would you say is a good baseline schedule for content to grow on YouTube after all the years and everything you've learned?
For us, what we're currently doing is like one long form video a week.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to put 4 a month, which
Same time, same day. Do you get that specific or?
no, we are not too specific about that, to be
Okay.
Too
honest.
Yeah.
strict, yeah.
Um, I don't think we are like the best person to ask this question to. Like we kind of try to get one out every week, but
Okay.
we don't have like
For-
a schedule to post it on a certain day or something.
Got it.
Then for shorts, we're kind of doing the shorts also for Instagram Reels.
Mm.
So kind of fell off a little bit lately, but we try to do like 3 or 4 a week.
Wow.
But at some point for us, it was not that sustainable because
It's a lot.
yeah.
our main thing is like we want to be educational and kind of make like serious videos. And we felt like for shorts, we had to go on the route that was not really educational anymore, but
Mm.
more really like entertainment.
Yeah.
So we kind of were not too motivated on doing that. And now we focus a lot of time on making like 1 hour videos on YouTube. And they're doing really well because in the landscape of all these super short and fast videos, people actually enjoy you post like long content, pretty raw, not too much cuts. Like
Yeah.
actually you sit down and you show them
What the
how to do
production
it
process, yeah,
instead
basically
of
is, yeah.
showing them 30 seconds of you have this bass kick clap boom your track is done. Like it's not how it works
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
in music. So I think that's what people enjoy about our channel. Like we try to just come straight to the point, be educational, don't be too like entertainment wise about it,
Yeah.
if you get what I mean.
Like really just show the
Of
process,
course
I
it's
think.
still entertainment, but like we try to deliver like actual value. Like you see the video, you watch it for like an hour or 30 minutes or whatever, and that they then feel like inspired to open up their DAO and try to do it themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So these practices and this consistency in output has gotten you to this point. And I kind of asked this earlier, but I'm not sure if we totally clarified it. When you think about getting to the next level and the fact that there's more and more people making channels that are similar to this, what do you think you guys need to do to, I don't know, just to give it an example, like to get to that 1 million
Yeah.
subscriber? Is it more long form and more shorts and sticking to that schedule in terms of output of content? Is it perhaps changing the way that you're sharing the information, educating people? Like what's going through your guys' minds and what do you think it's going to take to have that next, let's say, quantum leap?
I think, well, we could put out more content. I'd say that would really help. So like scale it up. And one thing we're planning to do is do more collaborations with artists, like we did with Camel Fat. So
Actually make videos around it with the artists too, which people would really enjoy to see. On the other hand, like to go to 1 million in such a kind of niche, because we're still in
yeah,
like the EDM,
It's a
and
great
then
point.
the
Yeah.
niche of melodic techno and Afro house, and you like you don't I don't expect it to grow to 1 million, but
Right.
rather I just get a audience
that's
that's
really
really
committed.
committed and interested in what you're putting out. And then you come back to that point of the way we deliver the content in an educational kind of setting.
Mhm.
Like if you make more of entertainment videos, then you could probably grow faster, but your kind of audience would change too. And for now, it just works really well that we make really niche content, link it to our sample packs as well. So yeah, that works really well.
So you can, in each video, we are using certain sounds from a certain pack. So let's say we just released the Afro House pack. Now we're doing some videos on Afro House, and then we say, hey, if you want to get the sounds of this video, then you can check it out on the pack and get support from there,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I think, really valuable to have fans and an audience who are really like committed and also are that find it valuable to get those sounds instead of just a random audience that's not interested in like getting sounds like that.
And in the
Yeah.
videos, we kind of only used our own samples too, so people really get a like they can really see what you can do with it. So let's say we do a start to finish in 1 hour, use only the pack, people get a really clear view of what you could do if you have the sounds. So that works really well for us to kind of showcase the potential of the products we're putting out.
Yeah, yeah. You said something that made me think of, it was just a great point, and it's that sometimes even on my own channel, I struggle with it. My ego does anyway, that like it's not getting the views and subscribers that I want, but I also have to remember this is pretty niche, man. It's not like there's
It is, yeah.
millions and millions of people looking to
You're
get
not a beauty
advice.
influencer, like there
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
It-
Like there
There
isn't.
is a maximum of like people who are interested
And
in it.
like the music industry is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like everywhere you go, there's dance music, but then still there's only a percentage of that actually doing the production stuff
Yeah,
and actually interested in watching content like this. So
yeah. And it's like getting a million subscribers and getting that plaque would be awesome, but like, do you want just a million random people for the sake of having it, or would you rather have 500,000 quality, know that they're interested,
Yeah,
supporting the content, buying your products, and actually like quality
yeah,
followers and
yeah,
subscribers?
people who are just happy with the content you put out, you
Yeah,
see it like in comments, messages. So for us, I think that's already like
yeah.
working
It's
really
more
well.
about getting the real great audience and fans than just a number.
yeah,
I think that's way more valuable.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Another thing I was interested in getting your guys' perspective on, and we touched a little bit on it when we first met the other night. So, as I grow this channel, obviously I want to get more and more guests that are on the same level as like Hugel, let's say, right? Big following, lots of impact in the scene, and obviously helps grow the channel a
Hmm.
lot. And maybe this is relatable because I'm sure there's DJs out there that want to sign on big labels and have big collaborations. So there has to be some sort of strategy, or maybe there's not, to trying to have associations with bigger people to help grow your brand. And like me, man, like I send out lots of DMs. I'm obviously used to not always getting a response back from some of
Hmm.
these bigger profile people, but then I've had other instances that kind of mess with my head where it's like somebody will engage me, say they're down for a podcast or down to collaborate in some way, and then they just ghost me and I don't know where they went. And I'm like, what the hell, bro? Like I got all excited. We're going to do this interview and then you ghost me. And it messes with your head a little bit. And I think I'm at a point now where I'm confident enough that I can handle it,
Hmm.
and I have a high enough EQ that I just push through and keep pursuing more great things. Um, and then after you guys have a big collaboration like Camel Fat, and maybe obviously you want to do it more and more, how do you guys manage pursuing these bigger collaborations and maybe knocking on doors and they don't open?
Yeah, so I think the first thing we usually kind of do to build these kind of connections is to just provide value to that artist or person just by sending them packs, seeing if they like it, just nothing really pushing too much on, oh yeah, let's collaborate immediately.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, something we like to just
Build a connection
build a
first.
connection first,
Real
and
relationship.
then at a certain point just talk about, hey, have you ever thought about doing a sample pack or something like that. And yeah, of course you get a lot of no's or no responses. That's just how it works. But I think, like you said, you just have to keep pushing forward, go on to the next, and think like, okay,
Mhm.
there's probably someone who then will say yes and will actually work.
I think it's a really good point, because just sending a DM like, "Hey, you want to do a sample pack?" I guess like it almost like 99% will not work.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you can really build this relationship in maybe sometimes years, and
Mm-hmm.
at that point get to the point where you're just like chatting about stuff, and then you can get into partnerships like this.
Yeah, yeah. It makes me think now the importance of not getting frustrated with the people that may ghost you or may say they want to do something and then they don't do it because, well, most ideally, you want to have so many conversations and things going on that you don't really notice one person not
Hmm.
responding to you. And the truth is, what if that person comes around in a year? So you shouldn't get, or 2 years, or
True.
3 years, or 5 years,
They,
right? So always keep neutral with people.
yeah, and like there are pretty high profile people, so they are getting like tons of DMs. They have pretty busy schedules,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't feel like too hurt if they kind of ghost you or it doesn't work out at this
Hmm.
particular time. That's just a bit the way it works
Yeah.
in an industry like
Real
this, and
life.
probably all industries. But
Yeah.
what we noticed, yeah, you face these kind of challenges sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Um, when you guys started taking the producer school more seriously and deciding that you wanted to build this into a business, I wanted to talk a bit about online marketing and the components of putting together an ecosystem to have an online business. Pre-question, or yeah, smaller question before, did you guys have any sort of mentorship of how to build this thing out and someone guiding you, or was it all self-taught?
A lot of it was, I think, marketing wise, self-taught, looking at what others were doing.
Wow, cool.
Website design to like
But
kind
I
of
think,
grew naturally.
yeah, we
Yeah.
kind of rolled in the sample pack business because a fellow YouTuber, Zenworld, he's called, amazing guy.
Hmm.
He showed us like, hey, he was already doing tutorials and sample packs, and he was like, hey, you can also do sample packs, which can be a great way to like convert your viewers into sales and sell them your product. Um, so we learned something from him, and then we just started doing a lot of things ourselves, putting in the hours, trying out different stuff. Sometimes it failed, sometimes it worked,
Hmm.
and then after these years you kind of develop your own kind of way of doing things, putting things out. So yeah, it's again like producing, putting in a lot of hours and just trying. There
Yeah.
was When we started, we were also younger. There was no really real strategy about it. We were just having kind of fun,
Hmm.
just seeing wherever it would take us.
And
Nice.
for us, it's like still to this day, like it's really fun to do also more of the business aspects. Like
Mm.
Yannick likes to make more of the creatives for Facebook. I
Yeah.
really enjoy doing the actual marketing and building the website, like doing some stuff like coding.
Ah.
Um, it's just that sometimes if you are in the studio for like 8 hours,
Yeah.
it's pretty nice to be able to do something else. And
Yeah.
I think it's the same for artists because you also need to post content. You also need to do your relationship management.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah,
Cool. Cool. Um, the producer school in itself as a business, is it just you two, or do you have like a team working with you or other
I
people
think
under you?
95% of what we do is just the two of us.
Yeah.
I think we do a lot of stuff ourselves still. We have a video editor, which is nice, which takes off some of the responsibilities of that.
Hmm.
And we do often work with like freelance producers to help us out with sounds or converting certain project files into another DAW, stuff like
Okay.
that. But mostly it's just the two of us doing things,
Wow.
which is yeah, we're doing a lot like marketing, music, sound design. It's everything like we do
Yeah.
ourselves.
As we sit here and talk about that, and you think about the fact that you guys are doing 95% of the workload, do you have you considered or thought about perhaps having to offload some of the work or hire more people on in order to expand the business? Like, do you
yes,
think you
but
need
we
a bigger
also
team?
want to like for the sound design part and the sample packs, kind of it's the same like making music and getting a ghost producer because it
Mm,
loses a bit of your own touch to the sound,
yeah.
and we try to be perfectionist about it.
Hmm.
Same for content, and we are the face of the brand, so we need to record the content.
Right.
Now the editing we outsourced just because it can take up a lot of time, and
Yeah. Can
if you
imagine.
record a video and then have to edit, it can be like really like tiring sometimes too. Yeah,
But
Cool.
I think definitely for the future, also if I'm gonna focus a bit more on my own artist profile, it's definitely nice to have a
Yeah,
bit more of the work that someone else can do. But it's
there's definitely possibilities
yeah,
to kind of make it more into a real business where you jump into more of the manager role.
Right.
But for now, it's working really well like this. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Really nice. Uh, Segmenting into a bit about mindset and motivation, as we discussed already, you guys started this from a pretty young age. So the luxury of starting something like this at a younger age is more convenient than starting when you're older. But for the sake of keeping people motivated and inspired, can you think of any difficult times that you faced while you were building this project before it became something that was self-sustaining for the both of you? Were there any hard times where the business wasn't working out, the business model didn't make sense, you had to stop and start again, or any sort of hard times or adversities that you guys had to overcome and how you were able to do it?
I think to this day we have been pretty lucky with how things went.
Mm.
So everything pretty like grew naturally. Um, what for us was a great time actually was the COVID period. We were
Ah,
free of school and we just could make sounds all day.
oh,
And
wow.
I think from that point on, it really started to pop off and like bigger artists using our sounds.
Ah, okay.
Um, so I don't really think we had any big like obstacles in the way of like growing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Uh,
more because like we were 14, 15, 16. At that point, you're not like looking to get an income or anything.
Right.
So if we would have started this when we were like today, then you would be like multiple years without income. So I can imagine then it would be challenging, but
Mm-hmm.
we were lucky to be like younger and we could just do what we like without the
Nice.
pressure of like having to make a living out of it.
Right. Yeah, no, it's great to hear because obviously COVID was such a challenging time, understandably for a lot of people, but you
Mhm.
managed to use this time as a positive to like lock in, focus and build your business.
yeah,
It's
there
fantastic.
was like so many people were at home and they wanted to try music production as well.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
could really
you
you could
really
see a spike in like the Google searches for like music production tutorials. So
Ah,
I think that
cool.
really yeah, it kind of that period wasn't great for the world, but for
Hmm.
us it was
like literally when Europe went in lockdown, you saw like our sales kind of explode that month.
Whoa,
Like
yeah.
crazy.
at that point, it was like our record month. So we're like,
Whoa,
well,
nice.
there's bad stuff going on, but it's kind of working out for us.
Yeah, yeah, cool. That's great to hear. Um, Okay, cool. There's one question I like to ask towards the end of the podcast. And obviously, throughout this podcast and in some of the questions and segments, you gave a couple small tidbits of information and motivation for people. But if you could think of your three most important piece of advice to a producer that's at home right now, struggling to break through to that next level, what would it be? It could be practical or tactical tips in as far as how they could be making the music sound better. It could be mindset or motivation, or maybe if you guys have four, two each, something like that.
I think definitely put in the hours. That's the one most important thing.
Yeah.
And what worked for me really well is just trying it yourself instead of well watching tutorials is a good thing, but at a certain point you also have to actually produce music instead of just watching it.
Yeah.
So try every knob you can think of. Don't be afraid to fail in a way. Your music will sound probably shit at first, in the first few months or years, but eventually you will grow into it and you start. If you like the process, you will probably like get there. It takes time, but it's really important to have fun and just try it out. I think that's my main tip.
Cool. Amazing. And
They
you?
they pretty much resemble with what I had in mind.
Yeah.
So, um, also like a thing is m- many people like talk to us like, yeah, you can't use presets and samples, right? Well, it can really help you in the beginning just to get your first tracks going, and then after that you can learn more of the sound design. First of all, you learn to tweak presets, then you can make them yourself. So I would give that as a tip, like don't be afraid to use a sample, to use a preset. In the end, nobody who's listening will judge you about it, and
No.
the biggest successful names are doing it too.
Yeah.
um, and I would recommend people to maybe start with not copying but getting inspired by people. But
Ah.
then once you reach a certain level, you should really try to kind of move away from that a little bit. So you open up your DAW instead of listening to a track and trying to recreate the exact same vibe. You just get to the level where you kind of sit down and just let ideas come from like flow naturally, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and take like
Please.
inspiration from a certain track or sound
but
you
do
like.
not really copy it. Like
Not
Exactly.
literally, yeah,
Just
yeah,
add your
yeah.
own flavor to it. Take inspiration from other tracks that are completely different. And again, yeah, you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
You can just add your own little sauce to it. I think would be
Yeah, I like that.
to get like sustainable career, you can get some success with like literally trying to copy the thing that's really like popular.
Mm-hmm.
But I think looking at it on the broader spectrum, like the most sustainable big artists, they all kind of at some point shifted to some kind of sound that is unique. So I
Yeah.
think it's really important to at some point focus on it.
Yeah. No, it's a great point. What's the fine line between using samples and overusing samples? Because like there's a guy I follow, hopefully I don't give him away by saying this, but he's like posting his journey in production and you can see really clearly like everything is a sample, like the melody, the bass line, the percussion, everything. And I was like, bro, like try something, like grab Serum and like create something cool of your own. Like you're just using straight up samples. What do you guys think is like the fine line between using too much but also adding your own sauce, as you said, to it?
I think if I were to use only samples, I wouldn't feel really satisfied with my work. So there's also artists that big songs, like I think some Fred Again songs that are just basically two splice samples on top of each other.
Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter, if I pronounce it well. It's literally 2 splice loops, and it became like
A huge hit.
huge
So
hit.
so the consumer will probably never hear it.
Uh-huh.
Well, some producers may recognize the sample, but in the end, it's all about the listener, what he or she thinks of the track. So I think the fine line is depends on what kind of producer you are. Some people just really like to make every sound themselves, do every kick, clap, snare, and some others just like to use loops. I think it's just depends on what you like to do.
Right.
And for me, I personally like the process of creating sounds myself
Mhm.
and then putting that into a song. But it can be different for everyone.
Nice.
And then on the other hand, it can be like really productive if you already have some samples to just get an idea out there real quick.
Yeah.
So both approaches can work. and I
Eventually, it's just
basically use them both.
it's
So
just can get your workflow just so much faster and getting your ideas out quickly. I think that's really important as a producer.
For sure, for sure. Cool, guys. Well, I appreciate you being here. It's been awesome to learn. I'm sure everybody
you.
watching got a bunch of value. Anything you want to share in terms of upcoming packs coming out or releases or anything? Or what's the best website for people to check you guys out? Is it theproducerschool.com?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So it's
nice.
theproducerschool.com. There you will find all the packs and quite some free downloads as well. YouTube, of course, we are just posting there weekly. On Instagram, we post a lot of valuable educational content as well.
Nice.
There's some cool things coming up, some new packs. Yeah, so just take a look at our socials and you'll find it there.
Nice. Cool. Appreciate you guys being here.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
No doubt. Guys, thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed yet, please do it. And we'll see you in the next video. Much love.